Well, howdy everyone. Can you even see me? I don't know why I made the camera this low. Today we're going to be doing backside stalls, and I was just setting up my garage because I went down the street to get some pizza because I was like, I should probably eat before I, go live and stuff. And I ran into, the lovely police and ended up having to stay and record some people because, the police were being the police. So I'm sorry that I'm late, but is it also not natural that I'm just not always late? Well, anyways, today we're going to do backside stalls, not slides. I can't slide on this ramp. Not because I can't, but primarily just because the coping is like really into the ramp. But yeah, we're gonna do backside stalls today, and I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks on how to do them, a couple ways to do them, and if you have any questions on how to do them, then feel free to put them in the chat. As always, the best place to do them or to interact is always going to be Twitch, but I do have TikTok up today as well. So yeah, I'm going to sweep the floor and put my pads on, and then we'll get started. I'm also going to wait for people on Twitch to come hang out. So yeah, I hope that y'all have had a good week so far, and let me know how you're doing. Let me fix the Twitch cam. Also, don't ask me what's happening back here. I don't know what this is. Don't ask me. Don't ask me what's going on over there. I don't know. Oh, hi Angel. Hi Savannah. I'm good. How are you doing? Oh my gosh. My new tattoo is so itchy. So itchy. You know what? We're gonna scoot this over a little bit. And yeah, the camera won't also be like that the whole time. I just set it up because once I'm done sweeping, I'm gonna sit here and finish putting my pads on and stuff. So the cam's a little lower, but whoops, I think we got a pretty solid setup for today. I was practicing some backside stalls before I started doing live and stuff, and I always get really nervous because the garage, as you can see, is when this is up, when I put it up to allow light in, I mean, as you can tell, I'm very close to it. So I was kind of nervous about that, and I wanted to just test things out first before going live and whatnot. So, but we're good. I just gotta squat a little lower and we're good. We're short enough that it actually doesn't matter. And for some reason I'm more okay, I'm gonna wear a helmet, but I'm more okay bumping my head on this than I am on that. I don't know why, but that just scares me. And the way that I set it up today was that I had a nice little runway in my garage, which is always great, because having to come from the driveway in is a little scarier because that concrete is not 100%. Do I like inline skates? I mean, I've tried inline skates before. I do pretty decent at them. Also, Sav, Angel, how are y'all doing today? Also, since I have TikTok up today, obviously if you ever want to interact or hang out more, you can always head over to Twitch. It's twitch.com/KianiWang. But I like to pull up TikTok and Instagram sometimes because I like to make things accessible. But I primarily like to go live on Twitch mostly. Trying to get backside stalls, but it's so hard. Any tips? Yes, that's what this whole live is gonna be. I'm literally gonna teach you how to backside stall today. I'm just not 100% finished setting up, which is the norm. So I just gotta sweep the garage and put my pads on, and we should be good to go. How are all y'all doing today? Cleaned my whole house, did my laundry, made dinner, and cleaned my back porch today. Angel is always productive. You're awesome. Okay. I think we're pretty solid. Now I'm gonna put my skates on. And I'll warm up, and obviously, like, I'll also show you what a backside stall is too. So if some of you are like, what the heck is that? Which I'll just do that now, because I was practicing without my pads on anyways, which is very silly. But yeah, here. This is what we're gonna be working on today, okay? So I've already warmed up before I did that. But if you are not here to watch and learn how to do that, or you're just here because you need some entertainment on Tuesday, that's also fine. But that is the finished product basically that we want to get. And it's always going to look different, you know, just depending on like the ramp that you're on, the quarter pipe, whatever that you're skating on. It gets so hot. I'm literally out of breath just by doing that. So that's the finished product. And I'll like obviously bring you closer so you can actually see what my feet are doing. And obviously, you know, there's so much that happens before that too. So stick with me, and yeah. Okay. Think responsibly. Thanks for following. I don't have my volume up for sound alerts, so I'm sorry. I can't hear anything, but that's mostly just because I've got like 3 things going on at once, and I don't want them all to catch each other's sounds. But yeah, so let's put our pads on, and you know, just in case anything goes wrong. But also, there's so many freaking mosquitoes out right now, and the more that you get sweaty, the more they just get attracted to you. So if I put a little bit of padding on, that's saving me kind of from some of the mosquitoes and some like annoying areas. I don't know if you've ever had a mosquito bite on your knee or behind your knee, or just anywhere that padding normally happens. It's the most annoying thing in the whole world. So, you know, whether you can do these with or without pads, I'm putting mine on today for protection, and for protection from falls and protection from mosquitoes. They're like already attacking me, and I'm not a bug killer, so I don't like squishing bugs. We don't have music playing today. Let me know if that feels off for some reason, and I'm happy to play some music. But yeah. So if y'all weren't here earlier, because I know Twitch has a delay, not that I need to explain myself to any of you, but I had an unfortunate issue where I was going to get some pizza and I had to stop and record some cops because they had pulled over someone, and there were like 5 cop cars. It was wild. There were like 5 cop cars for one person, and it was on like a residential street, and I literally drove around twice being like, what the heck is going on? And I don't really know what I'm supposed to do in those situations, but I normally, like, if I feel like I need to record, then I'll record, or I'll just like hang out and be a presence in the area just to make sure things are like okay. And the person that they pulled over seemed to be like pretty young, and they were a person of color. So it was just really unfortunate. And yeah, I was there for like an hour just kind of making sure things were okay. So eventually everything was fine, but it was just still kind of sucky. Okay. So, I'm just reading chat. There were so many. What was so many? Yeah, I know it sucks, but it happens sometimes, and you know, as long as you can do what you feel comfortable doing in the instance, then it's all you can do. Thankfully, everyone seemed to get home safe. Hi.
Hello.
I don't know if the door's open, but if you need to go through the garage, you totally can. Okay, let me pull y'all a little bit closer, or just like a better view, I guess. Uh-oh. Hey, say hello to my roommate Bianca.
Hi, Stream. I bought pet food.
Nice. All right. I'm just trying to get everything good for y'all so it looks straight. Okay. So, the first things, as far as tips that I like to do when I'm doing backside stalls. Well, first of all, let me tell you terminology, okay? If you don't know terminology, because I'll probably use it, when we're looking at a quarter pipe, this is the deck, this is the coping, and this is the transition. And the flat area is just like called flat bottom. TikTok did not see that at all. I'm sorry. I do my best to try to show y'all everything, but again, just go to Twitch if you want like better views. Anyways, so when we're looking at the ramp, the top part is the deck. The metal or PVC part that you stall on is called the coping, and then where it transitions from flat to the coping or the deck is obviously called transition. So I'll be using that terminology when we're talking. I also have this box behind me as well, and I don't know terminology all the way for a box, but like this is basically just, the whole thing is just the box, but this is the metal bracket, and then the wooden part is the box. So what I like to do before I start doing backsides is I will find a curb, a small box, anything that resembles something to where I would be stalling on it, because you can do stalls on boxes. They're going to look a little bit different, obviously, but if you have something as small as this, you can kind of just get a feel for what like doing a backside stall would be like. So you can come up, you want to put your dominant foot first, squat into it. You can kind of just like play around with it. Curves are obviously going to feel a little bit better because they're like a little bit more rounded, but again, you can just get a feel. You can even start from the top, your foot here, and just hop off. You know, just kind of like finding places where you can kind of mess around with it. You can even jump and do a 180 into a backside stall on a ledge. If I feel comfortable doing that. in different ways, right? The first one was not so good, but the second one was awesome. But just stuff like that, right? So if you don't have like a quarter pipe or a ramp in your area and you just want to level up in some bit, you can always use curb, boxes, ledges, all that fun stuff to just kind of feel out what a backside stall would be. And a backside stall is where you come up to whatever you're going to stall on forwards and you do 180 and stall with basically your back facing the deck or like whatever the top of whatever you're stalling is. So like if we're on a box, obviously you can stall from both sides. But facing this way would be a front side stall if I were to go like this and come back. So backside would have my back facing the wall, and then I just did a backside stall. So that's just a tip to get comfortable beforehand. Hi! How's it going? Thank you, Mel the Mochi, for following. So yeah, and again, like, you don't have to do these things, but it definitely helps. So I just wanted to give that tip while we're here because I had my box out anyways. Let's see if I can do a backside stall again on the box. Woo-hoo! Nah. One more time. I feel like it's never a tutorial unless I fall once, which is fine. I also want you guys to realize that falling is totally okay. I do it. And if the sound alerts are working, I added sound alerts that you can use if you want to for your channel points. So whenever I fall, you can just give me a really sad sound alert and that's okay. But anyways, so that's just a tip to doing backside stalls. Now we're gonna bring it over to the ramp, obviously. I'll make sure that everyone can see. So here we are at the ramp. Can everyone see? What is going on? Wait, I'll just bring you, let's do this. I'll bring you here. Does that feel good? You're probably not gonna be able to see my face as often, but that's okay, as long as you can see what my feet are doing. So, when we're doing backside stalls, the key things before being able to do them is that you're obviously going to want to make sure that you can pump, that you can ride to the coping all the way up, because there's a couple different ways that you can do a backside. So you can do a backside by jumping onto the coping, which means that, you know, maybe you don't make it all the way up, but from here you jump onto the coping, and that's how you stall. Or where you ride the ramp all the way up, and once you practically hit the coping, you do your 180 into your backside stall. So there's a couple different ways, and that applies to not just backside stalls, but normal stalls or like any trick really. It's just kind of an approach. My favorite approach, and the way that I personally think is a stronger approach, is when you can roll into stuff. And I'll show you the difference right now actually, so it's helpful to understand. Yeah, my Wi-Fi probably is struggling, but it's okay. I think we like ran out of 5G or something recently. Okay, so here's the roll-up approach. And also, if TikTok is not connecting, it's doing okay on Twitch, so always go to Twitch. But here's the roll-up approach. I'm just gonna show you like a normal stall. that make sense? There's two differences there. One, I started launching earlier. The other one, I just rolled onto a coping. Same thing applies for backside stalls. And there's two different ways to learn how to backside stall. So, keeping all that in mind as well, you might have a way that you learn that's more of a preference. Sorry, Twitch. I'm trying to get all of me in here. If I can go further back, maybe that will be helpful. Also, let me know if you ever have any questions or anything. Sorry, I just need to adjust my camera. Okay. There we go. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything. Why does stream look crooked? Does it look straight to y'all, all of y'all? Let me know. Okay. If it looks crooked, let me know, because I do my best to try to make sure it's straight, but I can only do so much. Okay, cool. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is struggling right now. There's a lot of people on the Wi-Fi currently, so I'm hoping that it's okay. But if it's ever buffering, just refresh and you should be good. So there's two different ways with that in mind that you can do backside stalls. One of them is by carving into the backside, and the other one is by going on the deck. So let me show you the difference between the two. The carving one is a little hard because of the fact that I have like a smaller ramp. But I'll explain it to you, and you let me know if you have any questions. So the one on the deck, I'll show you that one first. And there's no no right or wrong way to learn anything. It's more about what you feel comfortable. So the way that I learned how to do backsides was I tried doing the one on the deck that I'm about to show you, and I didn't really like it. And then I started carving into it, and then it clicked. And I kind of did both of them together, and it kind of helped me. But the other thing too is if you don't know how to fakie stall, which is something I could totally teach y'all as well, that's very helpful too before you do backside. So let me show you the on the deck version of how to learn a backside stall. Cat's trying to get my attention. Okay, so does that make sense? So basically, with that, what you're doing is instead of actually landing on the coping, you're landing with one foot on the coping and one on the deck. And you can also take this a step back further by landing only on the deck first, which is this top part, and not putting any feet on the coping first. And that's like the step before. So if you don't know how to, roll all the way out, that's another step that you'll need to learn. But that might be easier for someone who does know how to roll up all the way to the coping. And feels comfortable doing that. Like if you can air over the coping, or if you can roll out of the coping, that's something that might seem easier for you. So with that specific way of learning how to my head is getting chopped off on Twitch. Sorry, I'm just reading chat. I will fix that. I'll put y'all up a little bit higher. It sucks because vertical or wide, the angle is always so tough. But anyways, so with that one, what you're going to do is you're going to basically inch the second foot. So your dominant foot should be the one. It's tough because for me, my dominant foot is the one that toe stops because that's the one that feels comfortable. But when you're doing your backside, your dominant is going to be the one that's actually going onto the coping. So if there's any way that you can switch it up by turning the other way to where your dominant foot is what's on the coping and then your non-dominant is what is not on the coping, then that'll help you get a really good footing with your dominant foot being on it and your non-dominant, holding yourself up. So that way, once you feel comfortable and you have all your weight in that foot, you can just put your other foot down and continue going down. Now, I can actually backside both ways, but I'm a switch footer. So the hard thing for me is that when I come up, my dominant foot is forward, and then when I come back, my dominant foot is behind. So a lot of my tricks are kind of funky in that way, or in the way that I like to practice a lot of stuff, but it's totally okay. Just do what feels good for you, and if you don't have like a habit, or you don't have a lead foot, or you can do things both ways, then do just what makes sense for you. Like I said, if I'm turning left, my right foot would be the one that would be going on the coping, so try to make that left foot the one that's toe stopping and your dominant foot the one that is on the coping. If you turn right, so if I'm coming up this way and I'm backsiding right, make sure your left is the one that's getting on the coping and your right is the one that's toe stopping. And everyone's going to have a preference. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do anything, but that could just be a hindrance of this particular way to learn something. So once you're up here, so I'll just get up here to show you. So right, whatever foot, I'm just going to put my left foot is on the coping. You're going to want to inch this leg closer and closer and closer to the coping until you feel comfortable, until, let's say, you're literally getting here and you're like, okay, this basically fits me, a backside stall. Then you're just going to try to land that other foot onto the coping. That's pretty much the next step. And this one's, I personally feel, a lot harder to learn how to backside because there's not a lot of little steps to getting the backside. So it's pretty much, you're leaning on the deck as like, I don't want to say a hand holding, there's nothing wrong with that, but like, if someone were holding your hand, like that's kind of what the deck is doing. And then you just have to like land it. Keys to that are staying really squatted. If you're really, really low, no matter how much, like if you fall or where you fall, etc., you're going to be able to either fall on the deck or you're going to fall down on the transition. You don't want to be standing straight up because if you fall, you're going to fall really hard. So always make sure that you're squatted lower. And again, like I said, key things that are going to help you learn this are knowing how to rotate, which is already a tutorial that I have up on my Twitch, and knowing how to do a fakie stall. Hi, Kupo. Come here. Come here. Hi, this is Kupo, everybody. Hello. Knowing how to fakie stall and knowing how to do rotations are all going to, and stalls normally, are all going to be things that are going to help you with doing a backside stall. So try to get all those unlocked if you can, and practice it on something smaller, and it'll be helpful. I'm going to check chat real quick just to see what's going on, if anyone has questions. And then I'll move on to the next one. And I'll do that one a couple more times as well, just so you know what that looks like. I'll bring you closer as well. It's really hard. I just have to move y'all a lot. So I will bring you closer and show you that one as well, so you can see what my feet are doing. Meldemoji says, I noticed you have wide trucks. Does that help with the trick? Not necessarily. So I personally think that wide trucks make front side and back side stalls harder because they're wider. It's like something else that you kind of have to worry about. But that's personally me. I used to have narrow trucks for the longest time and they were totally fine. The key things that wide trucks for me help are balance and stabilization. So if you're doing like grinds, they're very helpful. If you're doing rails, jumps, airs, flips, all that stuff, like it does give you a bigger a bigger surface area of stabilization and balance. And that could possibly also help when you're doing like stalls and such. But for example, like this coping is really far into my ramp. I need to fix that at some point. But when I'm putting my foot like on the ramp, if I had nail trucks, I would have like more of a smaller surface to be able to possibly land on the coping. Whereas I have wider trucks, which like give me a wider base, which is awesome. Also, I don't even know if you can see this, you're kind of far away. But it also gives me like more air, like more spaces for my wheels to catch onto stuff, if that makes sense. So I have stabilization in the fact that if, you know, the coping is into my ramp, that I'm able to balance on the deck and on the transition, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, it's also not that nice because like I can roll more instead of having like a smaller base and just a smaller skate to where I can be more center onto the area that I'm trying to stall on. Does that make sense? It's easier to show when I've got a lot more coping, or like a thicker coping, because when you go to do stalls and slides, you have to be aware of like picking your toes up and balancing more on your block than you are actually on your truck. So that's just, it's, and normally wide trucks are also lower too. So there's like pros and cons. You know, you have like more stabilization and balance, but also you have like more of a skate to worry about when you're doing a bunch of stuff. Let's see. Sora says wider trucks don't make a difference. And again, it's all like personal opinion, preference. So yeah, okay, let me show you that closer. So we'll come up here. We're losing daylight, oh my God. This is not fun. Okay, so now I want you to be able to see like more of my actual foot. So when we're doing the on the deck version of how to learn a backside, I'm just going to show you that up close. So pay attention to my feet. Again, the closer that you get, one of them, try to turn both of those feet and land them on the coping. And the longer that you can hold it is dependent on how low that you squat. So I was able to hold it a little bit here, but if I even squat lower, I'm able to hold it even longer. Yeah. And when I'm squatting, again, it depends on the ramp, it depends on your setup. If the coping was out more, I would probably be stalling more on my block than I am on the deck and, you know, the transition. It is so hot, y'all. It's so hard exercising and then trying to talk about it. But if the coping was bigger, I'd probably be selling more of my slide blocks, but because it's not, I'm putting a lot more weight on my heel when I'm on this ramp. And when I squat into it, a lot of my weight is sitting on the heel. So I'm putting more of my weight on the deck when I do the backside to try to stall longer. So, do you have any questions so far? The second way that you can learn how to backside stall is going to be by carving into it. So again, it's going to be a little bit harder to show you this one because our ramp is smaller, but I will do my best. So, and I'm always happy to like, you know, like redo lessons and stuff too. So I'm going to bring you over here so you can see kind of like what I'm actually doing on the transition of the ramp. Again, it's going to be tighter, but if you have something that's longer, you're able to extend the carve. But what I'm going to do now is I'm basically going to carve into my backside stall. So if I had a longer ramp, I would take my carve, and at the height of my carve, I would try to hit the coping in some way. It's really hard to talk about. I just kind of have to like show it, but the more and more that I'm like doing my carve, and the tighter and tighter that you do it to where you're like doing 180, you're gonna eventually keep hitting the coping to the point that you're gonna do a backside on it. So let me just show you, and then I will explain it a little bit more. Sorry, I got caught on my ramp. Hold on. Okay, so I wish I had multiple cameras so I could like show you everything, but again, because it's tighter, it looks like I'm just kind of doing a 180 air, which is essentially what you are doing. But if you had a longer ramp, you're able to carve into it and like do your like little 180 at the top, to where your dominant foot that's forward is gonna catch onto the coping. And as long as you're squatted and you're sitting and your feet are staggered, you're not gonna fall, because they'll have an extra foot to catch you. If you do fall, you can always just do like a knee tap. But your momentum should be what is just kind of like continuously having you go around onto the coping. So when you feel like you're making contact onto the coping, you want to keep doing exactly that same movement, but you just want to accentuate it even more. So you want to turn your body even more, and just hit like that 180 harder. So when I was trying to do the carving, my dominant foot was kind of hitting the top of the coping up here. And when I was feeling that, I kind of like did it a couple more times, and then it's again hard to really do the carve on this ramp. But once I felt that, I was like, okay, that feels good. You can kind of like hit that 180 harder and try to get both of your feet on there. So even if I'm sending my momentum and I'm not actually backsliding onto the ramp or onto the coping, ramp, coping, etc., you're able to still roll out of it. You're just not committing as hard to the backside. So you're just kind of like tapping it and moving on, tapping it and moving on. And when you feel, more comfortable that you get, you're going to, instead of carve into it, you're going to try to come up into a tighter carve until it's basically that you are airing onto the coping. So as you can see, well, you can't see now, but when I do a backside, which looks like this, versus when I'm doing the way that I'm showing you, which is like, hold on. I keep getting stuck at the bottom of my ramp there, which looks like this, right? Completely different, because one's clearly committed, and the other is kind of more like, oh, I'm passing the coping and just coming back down. I'll do it again. Trigger warning flashing, I'm sorry. Anyways, it's so much easier to show you on a ramp that's longer. But you can tell which one's committed and which one is not committed, and you're just making the choice to like push yourself even further to do 180 to land onto the coping. It feels better than it might look, and when you're doing this one, I would say try to find a ramp that where the coping's not sticking out too hard. Find one that it's kind of just like not flush necessarily, but just isn't sticking out too much. Does that make sense to anyone? And then the more and more that you kind of hook one of your feet, it's just a balancing act from there. So your dominant foot should be whether the goal is to, do the 180 together with your feet at the same time, but because when you're carving and you have your feet staggered, let me move over here. You have your feet staggered. I'm trying to not have my face cut off for twitch. One foot is coming on, then the other, or one foot is mostly just making it on. So you want to take your weight and put it into the dominant foot so that you're catching more and more on this foot, and your left foot, doesn't have as much weight, or it's just kind of like hanging out, to where once you finally get that right foot on, or the left foot, whichever is your dominant foot, you're able to just immediately put your other foot on and then come out of the backside. And to hold that backside more, you just want to then squat into it more and more that you practice. When you've got coping that is thicker, it is a lot easier to sit on it with your blocks when you're doing the backside. And I personally would say if you have coping that is more into the ramp, it's harder to learn how to like sit and stall, but it is easier to do the carving portion of learning how to do it. But yeah, those are the two ways to learn how to backside. Both have their pros and cons. Again, one, you can start from the bottom and kind of like, flesh your way into it. Ew, I don't like that analogy, flesh your way into it. That was a poor choice of words. Work your way into it. And then the one on the top gives you, just more of like a hand holding, I guess. Like the deck is your friend, the deck is holding you. And you're able to like dip out of it at any time. You can fall on the deck, you can, just be like, nope, I'm not going back down, etc. So there's pros and cons to both. And you can try them both and put them together. And that was very helpful for me, honestly. But do you want to see how, like when I do the carving one, how that kind of looks from the side? Would that be helpful? Watching from Guam, thank you. This is a random question, but did you build that ramp? I did not build the ramp. No. I would not have built it the way that it was built if I had built it. I might have even built it worse, honestly, because I don't know how to build a ramp. But, but, if you follow a tutorial well enough, you could probably build a good ramp. My solution to the coping part is I just need to go out and get like a little thick piece of wood. I'm going to take the coping out, put that underneath it, and then prop the coping up higher. And then it should be totally fine. So yeah. Hi, Sailor. How's it going? Oh, also, thank you, Kaylon Burnett, for following. I appreciate that. I hope that y'all had got something out of the stream. I'm not done yet, though. I will show you from the side the carving technique. So we'll roll on over there. One day, y'all, I promise I'll be good enough to where I'll already just have cameras set up in these angles and I'll just switch you. One day, that's my promise, okay? That, or I just edit these into a really nice YouTube video. Okay, so again, also, do you like how I like put the deck with the couch so that if I fall, it's like, on the couch? Okay, so the carving portion again, it's not going to be very wide because of the fact that the ramp is not that wide, but you're carving into it, coming out, and see how one of my feet, like, definitely, so again, you're probably not going to get that high, or you're probably not going to, sorry, I know it's getting dark outside. You're probably not going to hook on both of those feet at the same time. You're gonna do them again more one after the other, so you can see that like my right foot hits first and my left kind of hits. But if you're doing it in more of a longer carve, again, if you have a longer ramp, you're probably only gonna hit one foot, honestly, because in the way when you carve into it, you're not necessarily airing, but you're more carving. So you're keeping your feet more towards the ground. Think of it like, this is the coping, right? If I had a longer transition, I would be doing a carve like under the coping. But I'm just making that carve higher and higher each time, to where when I'm coming up and back down, one or both of my feet are hitting. So if I'm coming forward, and this is my left foot, this is my right foot, and we're carving up, my right foot is coming up and over the coping, and then it's coming down. So at some point, I am obviously going to hit the coping, but it's on my way down. I feel like it would be easier if all of you were like behind me while I was trying to show you this. But we're going this way and turning is how you're doing a backside. But the more and more that you bring that carve up, like this foot's hitting here, this foot's hitting here, this foot's hitting here, and then it's hitting also here. They're just in a staggered momentum instead of like up and onto the coping. So that way is meant to kind of just help you get a feel for what it feels like for both of your feet. And then the more that you keep that when like that carve tighter and basically just turn it from going up and into a 180 is how you get to your backside stall. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna bring you into the light. We're not dying, don't worry. It's just dark outside now, so we gotta come over here. But I hope that makes sense. I was kind of like wishy-washy on doing backsides today because the way that I learned them is by carving into them. But I did it on a way longer ramp, so I'll have to like, if I ever make a YouTube edit, or maybe I can just make a whole nother live tutorial just in a different spot or with a longer ramp, I can kind of show you more closely like that aspect of carving into it. But yeah, that's how you do it. So just reiterating everything that we talked about today, is that key things to helping you backside are going to be learning how to pump and roll over the coping if you can, or at least like roll up towards the coping. If you don't know how to stall at all and you're doing the backside, you're ballsy and I love you, but learning how to front side stall is obviously going to help with your backside. Fakie stalls are very helpful as well, because they get you, basically you're doing a backside except you're just approaching it fakie, which I always thought was a lot scarier than it was to do a backside. But you're getting the feel for what it'd feel like to be backwards and coming back down, which is really helpful. And then, yeah, just having like really solid pumps is really helpful too, and carves, obviously. But both have pros and cons. If you have any questions about either, feel free to let me know. And I just want to see you get those backsides. Now, this tutorial can only help so much because I'm not here with you, obviously. But try those out. If you have any questions, feel free to message me and take a video of yourself. I'm happy to like give you tips and like, you know, be like, you need to do this or that or whatever. Ooh, you know what would be fun? Excuse me. It'd be cool if I had a segment on Twitch where people send in their like skate videos and they ask for tips. Wouldn't that be so cool? And then we could like watch them together. I mean, I don't know who, you know, is like excited to have people watch their progress. I mean, I am. I don't mind it. But it'd be cool for that to be like a thing and we all watch it together. And obviously we need to be nice to people. We're not going to be rude, but like it'd be cool to be able to like just have other people show themselves doing stuff because everyone learns differently and just kind of give them tips on like how to land the trick that they're trying to do. I think that'd be really fun. I think it'd be fun. Please watch you eat shit. Okay, so we could do that, or we could also do like people send in their best bails of the week and we watch them together or something like that. I don't know, just some fun interactive thing where like people could send in things would be kind of cool. I think that would be fun. Okay, we had something. Oh, hello! Oh my goodness. I am so bad. I definitely am butchering people's names, so thank you so much if you tell me how to say your names. Non-deracers too. I used to have a 6-foot half pipe me and my dad built together in our backyard. That's so cool. I love that. I really want to build a ramp at some point, but wood is just really expensive. So I feel like I'm probably just gonna pay for a ramp before I actually build my own ramp. But that is really cool and I am very envious of y'all's craftsmanship. Pronounced Kaylin. Did I say it right? Kaylin IG. I used to roller skate in London, England way back, so watching you is kind of nostalgic. Well, thanks for hanging out, Kaylin. I appreciate you being here. Sailor Dolo said your septum ring is chef's kiss. Thank you. I freaking love my septum ring and I'm really annoyed at the light right now. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna have to ask my roommate. I think the next time, okay, which is wild because it's 8 o'clock and it's already dark. Like what? I thought we were at the height of summer. Like shouldn't it be like 9 and it stays lit? Like what is going on? But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, my roommate has like a really nice photo shoot light. I wonder if I can either buy one of those or just ask to borrow it and I can just set that up in the corner like when we do tutorial Tuesdays, so then we don't have to worry about light ever. But my septum ring, okay, so my septum ring I adore. I'll give you a closer look at it. It literally sits on, what is this part of your like mouth called? Your upper lip. It sits here and it's really fun, and especially for someone who has ADHD, it's like I can like touch it or I can like just mess around with it. It's really fun. I'm like trying to do things that I do. I'll like bop it on my lip sometimes. It just seems like I'm like moving my head, but it'll like just bop on my lip sometimes. It's fun. It's basically in itself like just a fidget septum ring. Cupid's bow. Yeah, I would definitely say it accentuates it and makes people look at my lips, which I've heard that like I have a really nice smile and that I have nice lips, which are sometimes creepy compliments, but like I don't know, it's just like a fun septum ring that, you know, people are always like, you look like a bull, and I'm like, I absolutely got this ring to make that statement even more, but also it looks pretty cute, so. Okay. I'm so sorry, TikTok. My Wi-Fi connection is like not great today, but I'm gonna do a couple more backsides. You can watch me do those here. We'll probably have a party again. Oh my god, it turned on. What the heck? All right, I'll do a couple more backsides, and I would totally be okay with being like, let's try the backside the other way. But I'm really scared to do it on this ramp because I don't have anything on the side of me. But I swear to God to you, I can backside both ways. Like, I promise. I was doing a lesson with someone recently, and I was like, I know I can backslide both ways. Let me try it because I think that might be the way that you might be better at backsliding. And I did it a couple times and I got it, but my problem was that I was scared to squat into it. Like I could do it and then roll out of it, but I was like, I don't know about squatting. So I definitely need to practice it more. On a very tiny ramp, it's a lot easier for me to do it and like stay up there. But yeah, I was doing it on like a ramp like this high, I think, and I just was like not about it at all. But yeah, maybe I can like go to the park tomorrow and send you a clippy of me doing it. Send you a clippy, aka me just post a clippy on my Instagram story. But yeah, okay, I'll do a couple more backsides and just kind of like re-show you both of the ways where I do it on the deck and I do it by doing the carve. Not that I haven't done it already enough, but just like to refresh your memory and end it off strong. And then yeah, I'll take my pads off, I'll chat with you a little bit. I love getting to know new followers. Oh my god, I keep cutting my head off on Twitch, I'm so sorry. I love getting to know new followers too. So if you want to tell me about how your week has been, I know it's only Tuesday, or like maybe something you want to learn in the future so I can know, so I can make a tutorial of it, like tell me in the chat, like chat it up, talk about whatever you want to. You don't even have to talk about what's happening. You could be like, chat, I had pizza for dinner. Who likes pizza? Like, just chat it up. Do whatever you want to. Introduce yourself if you would like to as well. Or, you know, say like maybe what you skate on. Anything like that. Like just feel free. Chat is nice. Chat is very sweet. I have a few people who hang out very often. So get to know each other and yeah, hang out. I'll be skating for a little bit. So cheating, because nothing is cheating, but I'm like stopping with my left toe here and shooting myself up because I'm nervous. Went into the couch. I don't think I'll get it today, but you know, it is what it is. Whee! Okay, so that's the deck one both ways, which is great. It's hard to do the carving one when y'all are hanging out right there because I come at it really wide, but I will do my best again. Coming down, carving. See how my left foot stayed on the ramp like that entire time? Like, that's kind of the basis base of this is by keeping that like non-dominant foot in your carve and continuously bringing it up the more and more that you carve it. By literally just 180ing in and out, but like by 180ing by rolling up past the coping and then, you know, like pretty much onto it. But I feel like that kind of like collides with the carving into it because the whole point is to end up getting tighter and tighter into that at the end anyways. Okay, I love using poles, so actually, I don't know how to do a pole for this, but who wants to guess how long I can try to stall on this ramp? I'm on week 3 of my workout calendar. It's a huge step for me because I tried this workout calendar once before and didn't get this far, so progress. I love that for you. I love any sort of progress. I'm kind of like that with stretching. Like, I did 15 minutes of stretching this morning because I took too long of getting out of bed. And I still have to finish the other 15 of my stretch. But, you know, we all start somewhere. I haven't had a consistent stretch in a long time, so I'm very proud of you. 2 minutes? Oh my God, you have a lot of faith in me. I don't know if I'll be able to stall that long. Well, who knows? This is the first time I've done backsides on this. So, I don't know if I'll be able to get 2 minutes. I don't think that can do very long, honestly. Just the way this was built is like not the best.